Hey everyone. So if you're working with AWS, you know you're swimming in data, right? Just numbers, charts, and graphs everywhere. But what if all those numbers could actually tell you a story? Today, we're going to dig into how to go beyond just basic monitoring to get to true observability. It's all about understanding not just what's happening in your system, but the why behind it.
Picture this. It's 3 in the morning. Your phone's blowing up with alerts. The site is completely down. You pull up a dashboard and see a massive CPU spike. But, that's just a symptom. Do you actually know the root cause? That right there is the million-dollar question. And it's exactly what we're here to figure out. How we get from knowing what happened to finally understanding why.
All right, so here's the game plan. First, we're going to talk about what it really means to go beyond that simple green OK light. Then, we'll get our hands dirty and figure out how to get the full story with the right tools. After that, we'll look at automating our responses and even finding problems before you users ever see them. And to wrap it all up, we'll power through some common scenarios to make sure all these ideas really stick.
Okay, let's start at the beginning. What does it actually mean to move past a simple health check that just tells you everything's okay?
This slide cuts right to the chase. Monitoring gives you the numbers. It tells you what is happening. Hey, your CPU is at 90%. But observability gives you the story. It connects that CPU spike to the exact log entries and user requests that caused it. That way you can actually fix the root problem instead of just playing whack-a-mole with the symptom.
So, we know we need that full story. But what happens when a key chapter of that story is just, missing? Let's talk about something that drives a lot of AWS users nuts.
Oh man, if you have ever spun up an EC2 instance, I bet you've asked this exact question. You go to CloudWatch, you see your CPU, you see your network traffic, but where in the world are the memory and disk usage metrics? It feels like they should be right there. This is a classic gotcha that trips up pretty much everyone at some point.
And yup, there's a reason for this. It's not a bug, it's actually part of how AWS handles security. By default, AWS can't peek inside your EC2 instance's operating system. Now that's a good thing for security and privacy, but it means you have to take one extra step to get those super critical OS-level metrics.
And the solution, the hero of this story, is the unified CloudWatch agent. You just install this little agent on your instances, and it starts collecting all those metrics you are missing, like RAM and disk space, and it sends them right up to CloudWatch for you. This is absolutely the key to getting the complete performance picture. Now, this is where things get really cool. Instead of waiting for something to break and then spending hours digging through logs, you can make your logs work for you. You can set up something called a metric filter that just sits there and counts every time the word error shows up. Then a CloudWatch alarm can watch that count, and if it suddenly spikes, bam, it automatically shoots a notification to your team.
But what if you're looking for that one needle in a giant haystack? Let's say you need to find one specific transaction ID, but it could be in the logs of hundreds of different servers. Doing that manually would be an absolute nightmare. The answer is CloudWatch Logs Insights. Think of it like a superpowered search engine just for your logs, letting you query terabytes of data in seconds. Okay, so we've got our data flowing, and we've got our alerts set up. Awesome. But why stop there? Let's talk about automating our response so we can fix problems without even having to wake someone up.
Meet Amazon EventBridge. Honestly, the best way to think about this is as the central nervous system for your entire AWS account. It's constantly watching for events, things like an EC2 instance shutting down, or a new file landing in an S3 bucket, and then it automatically triggers an action. That action could be anything, like firing off a Lambda function or sending a message. It's the glue that holds all of your automated workflows together.
So far, we've mostly been talking about reacting to problems after they happen, but now, let's get ahead of the game. In a world full of complex microservices, how do you find issues before they impact your users?
Here are 3 amazing tools for getting proactive. First up, you've got CloudWatch Synthetics, also known as Canaries. They're like little robots that browse your site 24/7, clicking links, logging in, adding things to a cart, and they'll scream the second something breaks. Then there's ServiceLens, which works with X-ray to draw you a map of all your microservices so you can literally see where the slowdowns are. And finally, Contributor Insights is perfect for finding the noisy neighbors. That one specific IP address that's hammering your system and slowing it down for everyone else.
All right, let's bring it all home with a quick-fire review. We're just going to run through the key problems we talked about and their solutions, so you can walk away with a crystal-clear action plan.
Let's do this. Missing those EC2 memory metrics? You need the unified CloudWatch agent. Have to search logs across hundreds of servers? CloudWatch Logs Insights is your best friend. Need to test your site around the clock, even when there are no users? You set up a synthetic canary. And to find that tricky bottleneck in your microservices? That's a job for ServiceLens and X-Ray. Simple as that. So I'll just leave you with this one last thought. Is your system just being monitored, or is it truly observable? Are you just collecting a bunch of numbers, or are you actually building a story that you can understand? Because believe me, when it comes to building resilient and reliable applications, that difference is everything.